I think we're on.
Would you please welcome from a place called Winnipeg? I've been hanging around gas stations. I've been about cars.
Been hanging around gas stations. Great opening line.
I never thought of it. It's such a great classic song. You're right. What the hell are you?
So I've been reading the Rob Halford autobiography that's just come out. It's called Confess. It's amazing. It's so great. And basically he's talking about how he was gay his whole life. And he was terrified of letting Judas Priest down and ruining them in the 80s if people found out he was gay. So he would never go to a gay bar or whatever. He would just go to gas stations and truck stops, which at the time was a place that you could hang out, hook up with men. So I'm wondering why Burton in the 70s was hanging around gas stations.
You know, Burton, if you're out there, we'd love to know what was the influence.
I want to know.
I'd like to know, but because it's such a great song, I never thought of it. Ryan called it. It's like, what does that mean? Hanging out at gas stations. Well, and I think Rob Halford would be hanging out at rest areas in gas stations or something like that. Maybe this is like a weird thing, but Burton, we'd love to know. Was there a restaurant there? What were you doing at the gas stations?
It gives new definition to the term grease monkey.
And on that note, welcome to Winnipeggers episode 10. Can you believe we made it this far?
Oh my God.
It's a monumental, and that also means that we've probably amassed over 100,000 viewers because we do about 10,000 a show. So listen, we're not exactly Justin Bieber over here, but we're doing pretty damn good. I would say that's a pretty good ratio.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you guys agree? So we're going to start off this week with a bunch of cool stuff. Don't forget about Spiwi's memes. Great guy, and he has posted some very funny stuff. You're going to like this one from a show where you got the chair at SummerSlam and you didn't know what you want to do with it.
I didn't watch this one because I was so pissed off last week, but I'm good today.
He's angry that he has to take it home.
What should I do with this thing?
I think a woman will come around. You can put it on a table.
Every time I get one of these, I wind up holding it the whole night. You know?
Yeah, it's a lot of dances.
I'm embarrassed, like the stage.
Like an idiot. What the hell do I do with this thing? What is this? I got walking around this all night now. You get rid of these things. You know?
That's how I felt.
Wake that kid up. Wake
David. I'm David.
Shit! Jesus!
Oh.
So they
look at this.
And then here's another going. Rybo seemed genuinely stunned when Dave Spivak mentioned the nanny on Winnipeggers. So there's a picture of Rybo. You got to zoom in on this. You actually just got to follow Spowi's memes on Twitter.
I would say you could say spew-wee. I think it's
I don't know what it is.
Good point. Yes, spew-wee. That's great.
Spew-wee.
That works really good. Listen, we're really excited and honored that after 10 episodes that we have such a great fan base that's making these great memes. Here's some merch that we might put out at some point. Spivak, once again, it's so freaking small on the computer. I'll grab it off the thing and read it to you. It says, Spivak and Son, home security. I'm going to blow your fucking head off. Grand Beach, Winnipeg, established 2019.
This guy is killing it. This is Spewy Memes on Twitter, and he's so funny. And I looked, and he's from Ireland or somewhere, and he's
really?
and he said, I think, I don't know. I'm not really good with remembering shit, but he was from somewhere outside of North America, England, Ireland, same shit. But on that shirt, that's so funny, man, to do that. That's a great. I'd love to get a shirt like that.
That's great. That's our official merch if we ever get that far. And we also have some fan mail here from last week. It's hard to see these things. So I'm trying to pull them up and see. There you go. This is from Matt Sater. He says he's blushing, celebrating my mention on the show.
Oh.
This is to Dave. Dave, why don't you read that? This is the thing
he was says, "Hey Dave, I'm blushing and celebrating my mention on the show." Yes, haha. And this is a guy that I mentioned because he had been sending us mail. I truly am a loyal fan at this point and consider you to be one of the better comedic storytellers of our time. Underappreciated, I tell you. Matt. Thanks for the message. Thanks for the mail. And I can't even think of what to say to that. You know, you're like. You're a very nice person. I said it to Rybo, and Rybo was like, "Is he okay in the head?" You know.
I said I want an IQ test from this guy.
Mel Brooks, Dave Spivak. Yeah.
I'm gonna blow a whistle on that one. I think you're a pretty funny guy, but one of the better comedic storytellers of our time. That's
huge. None of us can be that. Even living 1,000 lives, you can't be that.
But I appreciate that.
Thank you, Matt. I appreciate that.
Yeah. The brother thought that. And then one last one, which I did not have a chance to download, but it was from Stacey Jennings, who was mentioned in the Heroes episode, the young lady that I saved her life when a car flipped over. And she says to you, Dave, so you would have only saved half of me, but at least you said you'd come back. That was nice.
Yeah. Well, that was my whole story. You're more of a hero. You're okay with maybe that engine would explode and you'd die, but you'd still do what it took to bring her out, where I would pull an inch, run away, do a little weird dance, think about it as the fire grew crazier on the car. And then I'd run in and grab another couple inches and she would live. And that's the main thing. You would have actually saved her where she wouldn't even have a scar. She would have cooked a little bit if I was trying to help.
The crazy thing about this, I don't even remember it being that way, but when I met her, she either remembered the story completely or backed me up. Like in my mind, it was flipped over on the top. Like you had to be Hercules to get her out. It could have just been she ran out of gas on the side of the road.
No shit. Yeah, no, it was a big thing. You were a hero. I remember you were the talk of the town. Good for you.
Thank you so much. Don't forget, guys, last week's sponsor, Up All Night by Totally Arctic Wrestling, September 26, 2020. I know that was it's upcoming. It's coming up.
Right? 2 weeks away. 2 weeks away.
Yeah, 2 weeks. No. Now it's on Saturday in 2 days.
It is 2 days away. I'm sorry.
2 days away.
God, this, the pandemic. Have you noticed Monday to Friday, just everything goes by like this? Is that part of the early death we're going to have? Is it just that people started noticing that Monday turned into Sunday so quick and then they all died? I think that's part of it, really.
Before you die, go check out Up All Night from Totally Arctic Wrestling, which is this Saturday, September 26th. Go to totallyarctic.net to be able to check out that show. Our fine friends up there, way up north, putting on their own wrestling company. And I don't know how many guys and girls they have wrestling up there. I mean, I think there's only 18 people in the whole Inuit. So I'm sure they got lots of people ready to just come out and have some fun.
I'll tell you that. I'll tell you this. The second that this pandemic's gone, all three of us are coming up. We're coming up there. We're going to knock on your fucking doors up there.
Yeah, we're going to go grizzly hunting and
up all night, sleep all day.
One more time.
Up all night, sleep all day.
Now that's actually a great segue because that song was super huge when I moved away from home.
Sure.
This is a Dave idea. Last week, Rybo came with the high school yearbook topic. This week, Dave came with the moving from home topic, which is interesting. We always try and keep ourselves thinking because nothing really comes to mind at first. Then you got to dig deep and come up with some stories, or else you have to sit there silent. And none of us like to be silent because we all like hearing the sound of our own voices. So, Dave, I'm going to let you kick this one off, man, since this is your brainchild. So don't fuck it up.
What's the topic? I think what we were kind of talking about is just that. Yeah. I think what we were talking about was that leaving home, like for the first time and the early times, and not just, I mean, I went back once, by the way. And then I left again. That doesn't matter. You know what I mean? But this was the first time.
First time you leave home for the first time in your life.
Right. Exactly. And that's a pressure, and that's a different thing, and it's super. It's almost like you're ridding the shackles of this family life that you've had, and you're out there for the first time where you can be kind of free, and you're so young, and you're just nuts anyway, right? So I moved to Thunder Bay for broadcasting school. And,
how old were you?
Around the same time you had gone away to Calgary or Okotoks. I was 18 years old. Right. Yeah, I was 18. I turned 19 in Thunder Bay, and then I came back, and I never went back to Thunder Bay. But I went and had that experience for that year of. I even went there with my dad, and we looked at dorms, places to live. Confederation College in Thunder Bay. It was broadcasting school, and we looked at the dorms. It was like you'd move into this tiny little room with a little microwave, and then we took a tour of the radio station, the college radio station, which is where you learned your trade, and it was all reel to reel. You were still cutting tape and like using carts and stuff, and it was really, really cool. But I knew nothing about living, and my dad left me, and he says, "Well, you're on your own." And I think they had helped me out or something. I can't remember what it was. Maybe I got $50 every 2 weeks, and it was like, use it wisely. Hopefully, it might have been more than that, but this was 1990. $50 might have got you a little bit more than a gram of hash. So I went to the grocery store, and I didn't know how to shop, dude. Like, I had never boiled water. I never did anything. Now, by the way, I want to say, before you hear this terrible story, I used to be able to do. I could do everything. You want me to make you a roast? I make you a roast. Scramble an egg. I can make Rybo hard-boiled eggs till he goes on tour for 3 years. No big deal. I take the money. I put it in the bag. Rybo gets some protein. This is insane. So I go to the grocery store, and I know nothing about cooking. And by the way, the first 2 weeks I went to a place called Mike Mart's, which is like a 7-Eleven of Ontario. And I would go there and just buy like frozen ground beef and fry it up and just eat it out of a plate. Like, that's it. Like, I didn't know what I was doing. That's like the total kill, by the way. It's like I should have just ran into the forest and killed an animal and eaten it. It's almost the same thing.
Still frozen.
So I went to Safeway, and I see this box of shake and bake, and I'm fucking, now, by the way, before I even, like, I'm very tired. This was a lot of studying, a lot of practicing on the radio. And I was riding mountain bike back and forth from the place I was living at, like, long hours. I was fucking out of it. And I bought a box of shake and bake, and I brought it back home, and I was starving to death. And my roommate was watching me, like, look at it, and he's like kind of watching me, and I'm looking at it some more, and I'm really confused, right? And I'm like, well, fuck, how the fuck you get the chicken out of here? Like, that's how much I didn't know about anything.
Wait. And you thought that chicken bake included the chicken?
It was like $7. You expected to have a chicken breast. I know. I did. I did. I really truly did. That's how. I was. How do they? I was on glue, man. I mean, honestly, I really was. I was addicted to sniffing glue. I'm just kidding. It just sucked. And then there was other things, like, these episodes talking about high school or college and stuff. They're hard to go back because it's so long ago. But when you do kind of revisit it, you realize there's like probably another 5 episodes to bore you people with completely.
No, it's exciting. People are into this. 10,000 viewers a week.
Every week.
You tell them how exciting it is.
I'm excited about that. Rybo doesn't give a shit, but you and I,
quit being a downer. I warned you.
Yeah.
Oh, here comes the fight.
Oh yeah. Oh, wait a minute. Ryan's supposed to disappear and come back for this to work.
I got to put on my referee uniform. So I went to the Roots at some point.
Another little funny tidbit from Thunder Bay is I had a guy that had a crush on me, and his name was George. Okay, and he was the local drug dealer in the area. And
was he hanging at gas stations?
He was hanging out at a gas station. And I was wearing this little number. I looked like $1 million. I was 170 pounds. No, this guy, George, the drug dealer, I met him through these film guys. So the TV and radio guys, we hung out with the film students. And the film students were always on LSD. We were drinkers. We were like, drinking the beers and going to the cheap beer places like Georgie's was on a Monday night. But these guys, they were just into taking psychedelics all the time. And they introduced me to this guy named George. And George, honest to God, the drug dealer. Honest to God, George the drug dealer was bald, had one tooth in the middle, nothing else. Okay, and full woman's makeup. He had not just guy liner, he had blush and lipstick on. Okay, and this guy
eyeliner.
When I meet him, and he's tough as shit. Okay, he's got Ben Johnson when he was on steroids type muscles, like not like those, but just like ripped, crazy. Okay, and he starts talking about martial arts, and I'm sitting in this house, and it's like he's really a big force, and you don't even want to talk. You look like this guy with makeup is gonna kill you. So he's like. Talking about martial arts. So I just said, I go, hey man, I know how to use the nunchucks. Okay. And he's like, he just fell in love with me. He's like talking 3 sectional staffs and martial arts. And all I did was when I was in grade 7, my friend made me some nunchucks. I taught myself and I wore a bucket on my head so I didn't knock myself out while I was doing it. And he called me Buckethead. So I'm actually the original Buckethead.
Buckethead.
Right.
That's why Buckethead wears a bucket on his head.
Wait, hold on a second. What's going on here?
This is a little bit off topic, okay? And this I don't want to run the show too long.
No, I'd like to see. Hold on.
But I have these. Yeah.
I'd like to see you do a routine with that.
Okay, I'm gonna set the camera up. I'm gonna be fast. Okay, I'm gonna try to do it. I hope it works out. Okay, love you guys.
Oh my god.
So this is a real thing that I had no idea. Did you know this, Rybo? That Spivak actually knows.
I've actually seen him a few times really drunk in the garage, pull them out and do his thing.
Well, I thought he would hit himself in the head, but he doesn't. Well, here he is on the side.
Let's see if he does.
Let's watch Spivak over here.
Holy.
See? The mustache makes him even crazier.
Oh my god, I just fell in love with Spivak.
What was that guy you used to pretend you were? What was it called? Uno Nothing or whatever his name was?
Remo Williams?
Remo Williams. Yeah. That's kind of like a Remo Williams type of a guy.
Oh, that's a big workout. That's a big workout.
That was awesome. I had no idea you knew how to do that. I was trying to zoom in on you, but I fucked it up at first with different camera angles, so don't get mad at me. That was great.
Yeah, I'm out of breath. Wow. So tonight I thought I would do that, right? So I had him here and I tried it tonight and it was like, I still got it because otherwise you knock yourself out. That was really bad.
I can see why you have to wear a bucket on your head.
Yeah, a bucket head. But anyway, this guy used to stand in my backyard, dude. And I'd go to parties. He'd be like, yeah, do you want to kill a 40 of vodka? Or no, kill a 40 of Jim Beam. Jim Beam, a 40? Like that's that's called taking a murder. That's murdering. We're gonna go kill someone. We're gonna break it and kill somebody. 40 of Jim Beam. You don't drink that 40 of that. Fucking crazy. Wow. You go, yeah, we'll get the 3 sectional staff out, and he was so excited. Woo!
You got pretty excited there, man.
I'm excited.
I didn't see. Once again, we talked last week how you learned things on Winnipeggers. I did not know that you were a good nunchuck technician, Spiv.
It was prior to me meeting you. From the years of 10 years old to 13, I studied the nunchucks with my friend John Wengel. He made me those. I still have
John Wengel. I remember when I came to a party at Stefan Leducer's place once, and like it was like fucking in the middle of like Wasp, I Want to Be Somebody, and Quiet Riot Party All Night, like that cool era. And I went downstairs, and John Wengel and Urbano Teixeira both wearing those sweaters that everyone used to wear back in high school, and they were doing a dance for "It's trick to rock around, that's right on top, it's tricky." Imagine 2 losers, especially John Wengel's like, and this is not a face, it's like looking on top of tricky with this fucking sweater on. And it's like, can we put on "I Want to Be Somebody"? Because I got places I got to be.
Urbano looked 48 at 14 years old. That's the greatest thing.
I was gonna say denomination. What background? Does Urbano Teixeira have? Is that Spanish or is it?
I'm not sure. It might have been Lebanese or something, maybe.
Something like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Since everybody from Westwood watches this and slowly are all hating us, maybe they can tell us. Okay, so hold on. I got a guy named Mark Teixeira. He's a baseball player. Let's find out where Mark is from. Maybe we can find this where he's from.
That's some good broadcasting, man. That's some good journalism.
Journalist. Oh, he's from Annapolis, Maryland. Okay, but where is his family from? Oh, geez.
Call him up right now, man, on the show. Just put him on speaker.
Well, I'll let me get Mark
like
to. Okay, what nationality is the last name Teixeira? How do I spell that? Nationality is the last name. It's trick to rock around. It's tricky. Last name.
Are you spelling it right? You're probably spelling it totally wrong.
Of course I am, but I'm doing my best, man.
Jeez, man.
I'm trying not to have the dreaded DSP dead air. Portuguese. I knew it. I said Portuguese, didn't I?
Oh,
no, we said
Portuguese.
Portuguese.
Okay, all right.
Close.
Okay.
Yeah. Close.
Okay, that's good. So so he would know what sepultura means.
Oh yeah. Is Sepultura from Portugal?
No, they're from Brazil. But
okay.
a little known fact is the language of Brazil is Portuguese, not Spanish.
That's right.
So,
okay.
There you go.
Right.
Rybo, what happened the first time you moved out of your house?
Well, I was just thinking about the first time I went to university when I was still living at home with my parents. So
Maryland.
That's right. I completed that whole university thing at my parents. I didn't move out until after. And the first place I moved out was with our good friend VH, who was he was living with a guy, and then on Corridon Avenue, which is right beside the Red Cactus. You guys have both been there. That's where you tried to go through the whole. It was amazing, right? A great place. And he was just bugging me so much. He's like, Rybo, you got to move in. You got to move in. I'm like, well,
Rybo, you got to move out.
Oh, fuck, man. It's the fucking best, right? So I'm like, yeah, okay. I'll totally move in with you. But, it'll probably take me a couple of weeks. I got to move in right away. He was just like so persistent about me moving in right away. And I was like, what's the big deal, man? I'll move in a few days or whatever. And he's like, or as soon as you can, kind of thing. And then that night I went to his place and I realized why. He had one plate, one fork, one knife, one glass. Like he had nothing. There's nothing in the
I would surmise that he had
no couch.
I would surmise that he had 2 knives. So you could.
What's that? I missed it.
I would say they had 2 knives.
Hot knives.
Yeah. Good one. That's
Thanks,
awesome.
Man. So no couch.
Yeah. So no couch, nothing. It's like I had all these things I was going to bring there, and he wanted me to show up there because he had nothing. It was nothing.
And he knew you were packing. You were packing housewares.
I had stuff. My parents wanted to get rid of shit, and they were like, "Send that with you, and you help out your friend. Let's go."
Yeah, nice.
So that's kind of me moving out. But
the best part is one of the things that they wanted to give you is one of those 8 cars in your driveway. They're all the exact same car.
Oldsmobiles.
Yeah, like Rybo's family drove the same car for 30 years. They're always brand new, but when they got old, they would just leave it in the driveway. So
yeah,
Dad, Mom, Kev, Rybo all had the same car.
It's just my dad would buy one and then he'd get rid of that. It'd go to my mom and then my brother would get it and then I'd get it after my brother and then this whole thing.
And so
on. And you Ryan, you still have one, don't you?
I believe I still do. Yeah. I do have a hand-me-down from my dad and my brother drive my mom.
Don't give me no hand-me-down Oldsmobiles.
Don't give me. That'll be our. If Burton
got one already.
Been hanging around gas stations. Anyway,
this is we should just call ourselves the Burtons at this point.
Burton Cummings.
Oh God!
That's by the way that
I love that.
I don't know if you guys know this, but a lot of people played the Burton Cummings Theater, which used to be called the Walker Theater.
We played it. We have a lot of people. All 3 of us played it. Same
sold
night.
that motherfucker out, man.
I know, but what you guys might not know is that what people call it around the place, they don't call it the Burton Cummings Theater. We just call it the Cum. Oh, I heard that band was playing at the Cum.
Rybo, it's supposed to be pronounced the Cume.
Oh, yeah, that's what it is.
Cumin.
Grant Cumins.
Grant Cumins. Anyway, Canadian name. So I wanted to talk a bit. Okay, so that was when I moved out of my house. But before I moved, I lived in Toronto for a few years because I was in the Watchmen. But before I actually officially lived there, I used to stay there all the time. We go on tour, and my joke was that, hey, when you guys, said you wanted to hit the road, I didn't know you were specifically talking about the 401 because we go from Toronto, we'd go to Milton, then we'd come back home to Toronto, then we go to another place. We play there.
Ontario 401, yeah. Ajax, Etobicoke.
you could tour for like 2 months straight. We toured for 2 months straight, stayed at Toronto every single night, and we go somewhere else. We go to Montreal and we'd be like, can we not stay in Montreal tonight? Why can't we stay in Montreal? We're in Montreal. We got to drive all the way back home and then go play, some shitty place.
Back to Ontario, man.
Fuck. Anyway,
back to the lake, man.
So I basically lived there for about 2 months, and I'd stay at the Town Inn Suites. You can bring this up. I don't know if it's up there, but of course we affectionately called it the Brown Inn Suites. And it was kind of a shitty hotel, but it was cheap. And they had the craziest shower pressure ever where you put the shower on and the shower curtain would just come in and slap you in the face all the time because there was just so much pressure. It was just like, gross. And down in the hall, at the end of the hall, there'd be like these Vietnamese guys all playing cards and stuff like that and smoking. You could smoke in the hotel at that time. And they'd have the door cracked open a little bit. And it was just these smoke coming here, and you could hear them talking. It was like a scene out of the fucking Deer Hunter or something like that. You're like, what the hell's going on over there? It's kind of crazy. But one night, I remember I was there. I was going to fly back. It was after like a big long tour, and I was super broke. I only had literally $2.50. I had no money at all. I was staying. How is it now?
Oh,
that's one, man.
Doesn't look the same.
Booking the calendars up there.
It's hard to see.
Doesn't look like they're smoking.
No, there's no smoking allowed probably now. But anyway, so I was super broke at the time. I had like $2.50. And I had my snare drum. I had my stick bag. I had my luggage. I had everything. And I needed to take the subway to get to the airport. So I couldn't buy any food or anything. I had a whole day where I was staying at this nice fancy hotel with no money at all. I couldn't eat any food or anything.
No money.
And I know that they had.
Oh my God! Sorry, that's so obscure. Sorry, go ahead, please.
I knew they had a continental breakfast. I was gonna have to get up early for that and make sure I could eat my Rice Krispies or whatever the fuck they had, and some orange juice and some yogurt or whatever it was. But I had the night by myself, and I hadn't eaten all day. And it was a nice hotel, and they had a complimentary bottle of white wine for me when I went there. So I hate white wine. I fucking detest white wine, but I actually drank it for nutrients. I need to get some calories. Otherwise, I'm not going to make it to the subway tomorrow. I got to drink this.
Grapes in it.
It's got some stuff in it. Calories, grapes, whatever. So I took that, went, the next day I was like lugging all my stuff and, I had my continental breakfast, which sucked. And then, it's never that good. Yeah. Made it, to the airport and came back home. But I moved there several years later. But that was kind of my first, sort of try of living there. Also, the garbage strike was going on at the time. Oh, it was also lovely.
That's a whole other story. We'll get to that later.
Oh, that is, yeah. At Stacy Keebler. Yeah.
My moving out story is expansive. So I'm going to tell you just my journey. Sorry, my journey, because we never pronounced the J's here on the A's, the Winnipeggers. So when I left my house, I had my 76 Volare that I bought from Matt Ritchie's friend at Canadian Tire. That cost me $400. I put in a new stereo that cost me $100. It didn't work. Only half the channels worked. I never knew there was guitar solos on a Van Halen record because whenever I went to the solo, that channel was dead. So all I heard was the bass of the drums. Boom!
Wow!
Dong, dong, dong. Running with the devil. Dong, dong, dong.
Perfect for an aspiring bass player, by the way.
Exactly.
Yeah. I remember going on a tour too, and with a car that had didn't have one side of the speakers, and listening to the Beatles, and you just hear like a hi, whatever, a hi-hat or something like that.
Yeah. You're like, what? Yeah, you need more Beatles, especially.
If there's anything I can, call on me along. From me, you.
That's true. It's hearing it from the left.
That's whenever I read a Beatles book when I was a kid. I didn't get it till I got my Volare. Now I know the difference between mono and stereo. Big difference. So I drove out of Westwood, and the first album that I put on, don't ask me why, no Beatles pun intended, was Rat Dancing Undercover. I think I just traded it to Matt Ritchie for something or other. I think I had 2 cult electrics, and he traded me for the Rat album, which is already 3 years old at that time. And I remember that was my first drive. And the second album I put on was Raven Live at the Inferno, and I started falling asleep. And my dad said, like, when you're driving, if you start falling asleep, pull over on the side of the road. It's like fucking 11 o'clock in the morning. I've been driving for 45 minutes. I have to pull over and fucking go to sleep. Like, this is gonna suck. So we're driving along, and I remember it's the first time I ever listened to Kiss Dynasty, because I think Ogie, our good friend Ogie, who lives in Vancouver now, he's the city's top best boy.
Nice.
Which is in movie terms means something.
It is. I don't know exactly what it means, but Ogie is a success story.
He's a success story. He's the top best
crew.
Yes, Key Grip. So he gave me Kiss Dynasty, and I remember hearing Charisma. What is my charisma? As I'm driving down the highway. And then my dad also said, it's good advice I still adhere to this day. So everyone listening right now, if you're driving down a highway and you miss your turnoff, don't fucking like swerve and stop and brakes, and just keep driving to the next exit, turn around and come back. It'll cost you some extra time, but you won't get in an accident, or get killed. You
won't die. Yeah.
Good advice from Teddy to this day. So I remember that. I remember that I stopped like in when you drive from Winnipeg to Calgary, is it Medicine Hat is the stop somewhere in there, Speewee? You know better than I do.
Medicine Hat is 3 hours east of Calgary, so you'd probably be like Regina's right in the middle. You got Regina, Moose Jaw, Swift Current. And,
I'd say it was a Swift Current. I remember I pulled into the Swift Current hotel and had really like pangs of missing everybody. And I had just gone to the prom with Judy Duncan. And I remember just like, oh my God, like I miss Judy Duncan, like whatever. And I watched Great Balls of Fire.
Hi, Judy.
With Dennis Quaid playing what's his name? Jerry Lee Lewis.
Jerry Lee Lewis. Wow, man, that's crazy. See, if what I remember of you back then too is that you were such a nice guy. Everybody liked you. You were on to something. You didn't, you were kind of like the guy that went to 7-Eleven, grabbed some milk when everybody else is grabbing cigarettes. You were healthy, you're into working out, and you were going on with your life. And people were like, wow, this guy's a good guy. So it would have been different if you stayed. You're kind of the high school quarterback, in a small way. And if you came back,
well, except for I was
just
a really fun, nice guy.
If you didn't leave, you'd still be working at Zeller's, and you'd be this.
I would, but the point being, and here's we got to close this out. As I'm driving to get to Calgary, and I remember I was listening to this band. I was really into Christian heavy metal. This band called Holy Soldier, and I remember driving over the mountain to Calgary, and this whole city of gold was at my feet, listening to Holy Soldier, which I probably haven't listened to since. But I remember that, and just like I'm here. And then all of my inhibitions of, I miss Judy Duncan and I miss Speewee and I miss Rybo was like, you know what? I'll see him around, clown.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah. Calgary now, motherfucker. Let's rock and roll.
And you haven't changed.
So good times, man. Good times. And we got a lot. This is just a basic opening story here. We can tell many more stories, but guess what? We got many more shows to come because it's our 10th anniversary.
And we made up.
We did,
and this is a good. These topics they can be. This isn't even touching them, right? So that's the nice thing.
It's just scratching the surface. But cheers, guys, to 10.
Yeah,
to 10 episodes and to 100,000 people who have watched the Winnipeggers over the last 10 weeks.
We couldn't do it without you. Right on.
And once again, thanks to One Stop Shopping in Calgary. For being the
one-way foods.
One-way food. If you go there, you ask for the lox or the herring. The herring is unbeliable.
Until they cut
hard boiled.
Until they cut the check, they'll be whatever the hell I decide to call them. But I'll tell you what I will call was Totally Arctic Wrestling up all night this Saturday, September 26, 2020. Totally Arctic Net for all information. You're not going to want to miss this show. It's going to be the greatest show coming out of the Great White North that you've ever seen. And that was not an imitation of anybody. That was just Canadians.
Canadian accent.
All right, guys. Another congratulations on a successful show and on a successful time frame here. And once again,
from a place called Winnipeg.
it's always a blast hanging out with you guys.
You too, man.
Hope
Cheers,
you guys
guys.
enjoyed the shows. And I don't know if you have any topic ideas, send them in at I am Jericho on Twitter. We're sticking on that. We're excited to hear more spewy memes for more fun and adventures. And until next week, don't hang out at gas stations.
Or if you are, let us know why.
Oh, you hang out at gas stations. We don't care.
I guess we could. I'm gonna go do that tonight and see what happens. I'll see what happens.
We don't judge. There's nothing wrong with that. My dad used to hang around at gas stations.
My dad gave me a credit card to live at a gas station. I ate food from a gas station for my first 3 months of wrestling school.
I remember that, Chris. I remember that.
Yeah, because I had
sandwich.
No money.
Shout out to Teddy Irvin. Yeah, David Lynn, no money.
Phrase.